Hi, everybody. Welcome. I'm Aley from Heart and Soul Connected, and I've got my friend Kathryn Barnett with me again today, and we are excited to be here. Welcome, Kathryn.
Thank you, Aley. Once again,
You're,
honored to be here.
well, I'm honored to have you. We decided, Kathryn and I decided probably a month ago, I guess, that we were going to start talking about books and sharing books that we've read. And we both read this book, No Self, No Problem. And the author's name is I think it's Niebauer. All right. And she had picked it up and told me about it, and I got it and I couldn't put it down. So I think
Right?
I think it was excellent. So thank you for recommending it. And I have some notes I took on it so we could talk about it, hopefully. Because I read it, well, I don't know, probably 2 or 3 weeks ago, but I always underline stuff. And I know you couldn't do that because you used your library copy, right?
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
okay.
Our true freedom is a library.
Absolutely. They're perfect. They're wonderful. So let's see. So in this book, I want you to know that the man that's doing this is writing about neuropsychology, but brings in a lot of Buddhism as well. And I think that's what is that what attracted you to it, Kathy?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Buddhism is a philosophy.
right.
It's not a religion.
Hmm.
And uh, through exploring that philosophy, I came across this book. And it lit a spark in me that I'm like, yes, this is why it happens.
Yep, yep. And I was just, I'm listening to a book, an audio book where I'm walking, and I don't know if you've heard of David Hawkins, but he was this man that used to do actually testing, kinesiology testing on
Hmm.
people to see at what levels of understanding that they were. So this particular one is called Letting Go. And I was just listening to it this morning as I was walking, and it had so much that had to do with this book as well, and how we have to let go of um, the negative thoughts, the negative things we tell ourselves. And he starts out with thoughts or things which we already know anyway, but he goes deeply into it and talks about the different levels. He talks about gratitude, compassion, love, and all the other things. So I'm almost done with that one, but it's a little bit more, it's not clinical, but I guess it's a little bit probably drier in some cases. But I like it when I'm walking, because I'm not really thinking about, I'm just listening, you know. But in this book, Neubauer says our assessment of ourselves and our experiences are an illusion based and problematic, because he says our thinking is the problem. We create the worst problems when we think.
Isn't that perfect?
It is. It's absolutely perfect. Yeah.
But the human brain in evolution, it needed to label.
Uh-huh.
It
Yep.
will label, for example, food. It needed to label, I have to eat. Eating makes me feel good. I get more proteins. I get healthier. I can pass on my genes to the progeny and
Right.
things like that.
Hmm.
But now that's not serving us, because if I eat a box of cookies because I want to feel good, that's
Hmm.
not healthy.
Correct.
But
Correct.
it's programmed
It's been
into,
programmed.
yeah, into our basic nature. And I
It
just
is.
found that.
It is fascinating. So not only is it our current nature or our current programming, but it's also programmed uh, deeply, I guess, into our DNA. I'm guessing
Yes.
yeah, that. And so sometimes, I mean, I guess we could say, well, I can't help it, but of course we can.
But not
It's
as much
just a
as we
choice.
can.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Not as much as we think. I think that was one of the eye openers for me,
Hmm.
because my middle name is I'm not good enough.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
And
All have that to a degree. I
yes,
mean, we do. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
this had nothing. It has nothing to do with me. It has to do
Right.
with reprogramming.
That's right. That's right. Just like he says, we got to step away. Our I, single I, not this I, but our I, is what we think of first when we describe ourselves, and it's meant to be as an individual, but it's our perception of who we are, and who we are that we perceive we are is not always who we are.
Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct.
Uh-huh.
What we perceive of a situation is not always true. Oh, I think it was in this book, a woman was very upset because her coworkers were talking about her, and she knew that they were talking about her, right? And it just upset her. She got all frazzled, razzled, and then she comes to find out, yes, they were talking about her, but they were planning her birthday.
Right, right. But we go to the negative first, right? Yep.
And what an eye opener that one was, you know, the perception.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. It's just, it's in our intrinsic nature to think, oh, I'm stupid, or oh, I did that wrong. Or one of the things that really struck me is, see, I'm not a competitive person. I don't care for competition. I think it's healthy. I think that there are situations, excuse me, in sports, you have to like that. And I would imagine in dance and in other things that you would too. Me, I don't like it. And when I feel like somebody is trying to compete with me, or I have to compete with somebody else, I start saying, oh, then I'm no good. They're better than I am. And I go on and on and on. And I should just give up.
Right.
And I need to give up that and let it go and just say, whoosh, shut up, and, change the thought,
Well, that's,
So,
well, again, there are a lot of branches that have led to this discovery of this book.
right.
And one of them is positive psychology.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if I can say this online, but the VIA character assessment
Mm-hmm.
names, yeah,
Yep.
You know, but you use it with your kids.
I use it with kids, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you pick, they give you 20, and you pick your top 5.
Right.
And by utilizing them, raises everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And what the top 5 things that you are.
Right.
Me, the number 1 is zest.
There you go. Yeah.
And gratitude and social interaction and bravery.
Right. Uh-huh.
So
Yep.
I have that label. So when I need to do something, I go, well, I'm brave.
Sure.
I can do it.
Yeah.
And what a difference something like that makes.
It really does. If you could flip from the negative right into the positive, and let go of that negative, which is difficult for us to do. But we have to be, if we're made aware of it, we can do it more than if we're not made aware of it. So that's so in here, the Buddhists say that me or I is fiction, that we are actually no self, which is part of the title of this book, and that we are more than a verb, that we are more of a verb than a noun. And I like that. So it's active. And the Buddhists say that self is a construct of our mind. So our opinion of ourselves is an illusion, because our thinking creates the self, but without it, there is no self. And the process of thinking becomes a thing. And I found that to be fascinating. Although, you don't think about or use the word think again, but you don't think about these things all the time. I just know that, like you said, I just know they're talking about me. They don't like me, or, that person is doing what I want to do. I'm jealous, I'm envious, I'm this, I'm that, whatever it is. And we spend an awful lot of time there, and it doesn't really serve any purposes. So
I wish I had known about all of this when I was younger. It would have saved.
And you know what? And we might not have done something about it. That's the thing. I've said that so many times. Why didn't I know? Why didn't I know? I remember thinking in my 30s, when I was involved in the martial arts, that I was already too old. Why didn't I do this when I was younger? And 30s are nothing. 30s are, it's perfect time to do that. But a lot of it. So we also have limited beliefs about, well, I'm this age, or I'm this thing, or I have this problem, or I'm limited with this. And of course, if you're looking at all law of attraction, then you're just making all those things your reality. You're not going to attract anything in because you've got these limitations and you've got these blocks and obstacles up there. So
Like a rubber stamp.
boom, right on the forehead.
Absolutely.
I'm a nerd. Yeah. So we all go ahead. No.
On your law of attack of attraction, and you're manifesting.
Uh-huh.
Because the start of the new year, that's what was your theme, was manifesting. And I started really thinking about it. And the universe puts things in your path, and you have to have your antenna up,
right,
to connect it. And all of those labels, those negative labels, don't make the radio signal so you can't absorb it.
correct.
How I came to Colorado, the universe put everything in my place.
Everything in place. Correct. It was the time to do it.
Right. And I am constantly refreshing that that antenna. You know, let it go and
clear it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that can be done through meditation or mindfulness. And that's exactly where you're where you put your focus. And I admire that a lot. For me, it's when I'm walking, and it's a walking meditation. That's how I do it. But everybody's different, and there's no right way.
And you know that is legal. Walking meditation is part of the concepts of meditation.
Right.
And especially when you in your book, you know, the only thing you can think about is moving your feet and the book. I love to do meditations that way.
Absolutely. You're not focused too much on, although I'm not exactly sure if it meets the criteria, because the left brain is the interpreter and the right brain is more global. It's visual. That's why mindfulness exists in the right brain. So I'm not 100% sure if I might have to change things up a bit. I might have to read my book every other day and then spend the other day looking at the tree. Although I do that, I look up, I look around, I look at the trees, I look at the ground, I look at the rocks or whatever. But it's that we lack, I think, in our world, because we don't take the time to just be quiet and take a look at something or eat mindfully, or, you know, we don't use right brain if we don't do that.
We're busy.
Yeah. Thinking.
Busy thinking, you know, or doing, or making the list. Tomorrow I got to do yada, yada, yada.
Right.
You know, yes. And I think for me, being away from the East Coast and owning my own business gives me time now to be mindful, to hear the person.
You're in such a beautiful part of the world, you know, and I know you appreciate it. I can tell you appreciate it. And you worked hard for it, so to speak, if you know what I mean. Yeah. A lot of people will get to the time of our lives where they've worked and worked, and then they're going to take a break and something happens and they're not able to do that. I've tried in my life to do it as when I could, you know, as much as I could. But I have to keep reminding myself that, you know, tomorrow is never promised to anybody. So it's very important to stay in that space where you're in the present and you're enjoying it and you're seeing it and you're, you know, taking that into your heart. So
on that note, can I say a poem?
Of course.
Okay, I have to get it off my bulletin board.
Okay.
That I think follows exactly what you're trying to say.
Okay.
It's by Daniel Baylis, Baylis.
Okay.
And it says, "You are but a collection of atoms working together in temporary harmony before being dispersed back into the universe. Your earthly task is to help these atoms radiate. Imagine the simplicity. You need not achieve anything, but gently glow." And
you're supposed to be.
We have to live life.
We do. Yep.
And
because the body isn't who we are.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. and live life and practice living well.
Right. Right.
Practice the art of living well, whether it's a cup of tea and a muffin, but,
Mm-hmm.
but putting a tablecloth down and sitting
Right.
and putting on soft music or whatever, living
Yep.
well, whatever you want.
Absolutely. They said don't save your something for a special occasion, because every day is a special occasion. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'd like that. Yeah. Yeah. I think though that we've grown up, not just us, but other people as well, with this thing that we have to do. We have to do this, do that, do this, do that. But we never are set. Somebody doesn't pull us aside and said, let's just be. Let's just sit down and be. There's nothing wrong with that. A lot of people aren't real happy about quiet because they feel uncomfortable with it because they don't allow it.
mhm. I
And
totally
but
agree.
we are a human in a spiritual body. We're having a spiritual experience, and that's what we are. So it makes a lot. This book just really brought in so much about how the mind works and how we collect. uh let's see we have a strong idea of ourselves, even though it's not it's not a thing. The sense of self we believe to be true causes us mental suffering, and that's what you talked about earlier when you said, I'm not good enough.
Mm,
Or and this we don't need to go there, because we of course we are, we're perfect however we are, because we and but this brings us regret and anxiety, living in the past, worry and jealousy and all that stuff. And it's of our own making.
I
It's pretty
agree.
powerful. Oh,
And
so
it's
powerful.
our own making. How much time do we waste worrying?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
How many times did you put I'm going to tell her tomorrow, and you put that loop in your brain
Uh-huh.
over and
Yep.
over again? And
Right.
there are many ways to break that,
Uh-huh.
but
There are.
you have to see outside that box to what it is. What have you got? Oh,
I got myself some mala beads. I don't know if I
no,
love
I
them
don't have any yet.
yet. Okay. But if you want to practice mindfulness, and this would be helpful in your meditation, what the Buddhists do is they look at the bead. Yeah, they start with the first bead, and then they're thinking, and all they're doing is moving the bead. So it's kind of like when you have something to focus on. But this sort of this one happens to be Soda Light, which is, I love blues, so this just happens to be that one. I have another one that is pink, and it's very nice because it radiates all that heart stuff.
Mhm.
But I just, nobody needs these things, but sometimes these things can bring us the silence that we need if we focus on those types of things.
And rosary beads in the Catholic Church.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Same thing. Yep.
Uh, a lot of people feel very centered going to church. Well,
Absolutely.
the act of doing this, okay, balances the hemispheres of your brain.
Right.
So it makes sense that when you are in church, you feel better because you're balancing
Yep.
and it's meditative and all the, I'm not knocking church at all. I'm just saying that
No, I know you're not.
there are
Yeah.
things
Uh-huh.
that happen that
Mm-hmm.
the human have
Mm-hmm.
fallen upon to bring them peace.
That's right. That's right. And everybody's got a different way of getting their peace, but that's the most important component, is finding it and staying centered in it. And we're going to have periods of time where we can't find it, but it doesn't have to be all the time. We can always try to return to it once we get through that struggle. So he says the left brain usually is totally wrong.
I know.
And I love that. I just do. It says that it really is it's our belief system, and our interpretations have little regard for reality. And I have to bring this in, even though I hate politics, but that's what I see here going on. You got somebody standing up and saying, oh, there's nothing wrong, on the 6th of January. It's like, what universe do you live in? And, if you interpret what you saw and you don't see that there was something wrong, that's really crazy. So that seems to be a blatant
And
way
that's
of that.
a left brain thing.
Right, right.
Left brain thing, yeah.
It is. And so you have to work to integrate the two. I mean, and not spend just time over here and over here, but here. He does talk about really good examples of people who didn't have that connection due to some kind of an operation or whatever. I found that information to be very interesting because, those, yeah.
Fascinating. And doing all of this work, meditating or getting information or manifesting or positive thing, whatever, is not going to make you in la la land.
Right.
Yeah. You're still going to have problems.
I know.
My dog died.
Right.
And I grieved because
absolutely,
grief is another word for love.
Absolutely.
But because of all this other things I've been doing, I was able to hold it differently. And
yes.
That's what we're talking about does. It doesn't take it away.
No.
But you're holding it differently.
Correct. You've got a perception, but it's, I don't know if it's more global. So that means you're using your right side more too, because compassion is in the right side of the brain. So you've got the balance there.
Yeah. It's the yin and yang.
Yep. Absolutely. Oh yeah. One of my favorite symbols of all. Absolutely. But apparently, arousal and passion, do they come from the right brain? I'm trying to think, or the left brain. Well, what I got out of this was it overcomes our ability to reason with things. So it must be the left side. It says the left makes up a story.
Oh, yeah.
And this can whip up a crowd. And this is where cults come in. And I thought, of course, you have to have something that isn't real, but the story is real. What you're seeing is the story, and how you're interpreting it isn't really real. It's an illusion, and you're looking at it from the right brain too. But this whips you up rather than makes you say, wait a minute, I don't know if I'm seeing the right thing. I found that so a lot of people, I would say, who believe in all of this QAnon and all that stuff, they must absolutely be left brain total, or their ability to be whipped up is there. Yeah.
But I'm finding myself now when I go down the rabbit hole of I'm not good enough, or I should have. You should have stopped shooting on yourself.
Absolutely.
I'll say to myself, that's a story, and I'll literally tap. Which I don't know if you can see. This is my left brain and my right brain. And I'll tap. But this is a story. This is a story.
Right. Got to get the information. Got to make sure you get the right information.
And just by being aware,
right,
I can change it. What a fun idea!
I know. I have my students sometimes, well, they'll go out and I want them to do an observation, and I'm really asking them to do a left brain, right brain. I never realized it. But I said, can you imagine if you see an accident that happens on a 4 corners, let's say, and you happen to see a car crash, and you've got 5 or 6 different people looking at that accident, you're going to have 5 or 6 different interpretations of that accident.
Absolutely.
Including the people that were in the cars, yeah. And, I can see it really blatantly in that case, but some of this other stuff seems a little like the unconscious mind is having a field day. Because we want to believe our story. We don't want to be wrong.
We don't want to be wrong.
No, we don't. Oh boy.
And that's the thing, because then we are less.
Right.
We'll get rid of the less and get rid of the wrong.
Oh yeah, I must be stupid. I didn't figure that out. I'm not going to admit I'm wrong. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's human nature. I have a which I'm not wearing, and it's like a old-fashioned ID bracelet.
Yes.
It has human written on it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Other than when I do my pottery,
Right.
I wear it to remind myself, okay, I'm not God.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I'm
Yeah.
human. I
And
make
we can be imperfect. That's right. Yep. Wow. Let's see what else I wanted to bring. Is there anything that you thought of that I haven't said that you want to bring up? Because I have a few more things to talk about here, but I didn't want to step on if you had something
we
you
were
wanted to
right.
say. I know.
I stepped on here. No, but
Make me a sandwich, will you?
um, yes, and it went right out of my brain.
Okay.
Perception and reality. Oh well, it'll come back. Go ahead.
Have you ever learned about Plato's cave have you ever heard that
But I
in
have my
philosophy?
pen, write it down.
Okay, Plato's cave. And I like it because it talks about um, a group of people in a cave that has an opening that is behind them, or no, I'm sorry, it's in front of them and there's a fire behind them. And they're chained. He's making this up, of course, but they're chained and they can't move their heads and they can't go anywhere. And this is their reality. And basically, the shadows that they see from the fire and everything are misrepresented to them because let's say, for instance, I put my hand up and I say this is a hand. It's only the shadow of a hand, so they don't know that this really is a hand. They only think that the shadow is a hand.
Yeah. Yes.
And then it comes to the point where they're finally let out of the cave. They have this limitation of what reality is because they don't know what it is for sure. And they get out of this cave and the sun's bright and they're like, oh my God. And you can only imagine, you don't have words for this. And it doesn't look like anything you've seen in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And so the interpretation would be very, very difficult because you're in a limited scope of knowing due to what the circumstances were. And the coolest thing about it is that we all live like that in a lot of ways, even though we're not that stark.
Mm-hmm.
And so to me it was like when they got out of the cave, of course they were enlightened because they were in the light and they could see things for what they really were. But a lot of us live and do not see things as they really are, and part of that is because of how we interpret it, and we're seeing it as the way we think it's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
I know, blows your mind.
Well, the instinct is what I want.
Okay. All right.
But how many times have you walked into a store, a restaurant? Okay, walk into a restaurant, and you go, this is not the place.
Yes.
Right? That's using your right brain.
Right.
And the right brain is, in most instances, more correct than the left brain.
Correct. Yes.
So the story. So trust your gut. The old-fashioned trust your gut.
Absolutely. So if I was standing outside and you walked and you were going to get us a seat, and you walked into the restaurant and you went, you come out and then you've got to tell me why we're not going to eat there.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
And so that's your interpretation. I might walk in and go, yeah, it's fine, or not, depending on what it is. But isn't that fascinating? Yeah. Wow. And I won't wait if restaurants aren't open pretty much here anyway, but if I get to a restaurant, there's unless I'm really, really, really engaged in wanting to wait, I'm not that hungry. I won't wait. If there's more than, 2 or 3 people ahead of me, that's fine. But, well, it's going to be 3/4 of an hour. Well, I'll see you later. I'll go to McDonald's. No, I don't go there, but
I'll go to the diner.
I'll go home. I'll go home and make my food. Yeah. But yeah, there's an interesting story about that it fits with the pattern recognition. And so when you brought up the restaurant too, that we are being told all along what's going on, even though it's our story.
Mm-hmm.
But if we don't listen to that, then we don't get it. And we keep repeating that over and over again till we finally do get it. And then we're mad because we keep repeating it over and over again, but we didn't get it the first time.
And there's so much thrown at us. When
Yeah.
I dance, I taught musical theater.
Mm-hmm.
One of the pods in the curriculum was do a TV commercial. Okay, now I've got 8-year-olds.
Uh-huh.
And what came out of it was how manipulative or manipulated we are by television.
Absolutely.
Buy, color red, new and improved, and things like that. Well, you add that on top of your left brain, labels,
right?
And this is right, and this is not right, and this is black, and you have to go with the black, and you can't go with the white, and this is purple, and this is orange, and we are being manipulated.
Oh yeah,
much more now than ever before.
Well, yeah, on the internet too. Now, when we were growing up, it was the TV commercials, and still, I think it could be, especially Saturday morning, all the sugary cereals, all the toys that mom should buy you.
Right.
Yeah. Well, didn't Soupy Sales? Do you remember Soupy Sales? Do you remember who he was?
That's what you're talking about.
Hey kids, go into your mother's wallet and get out some money and send it to me.
And they did. He got thousands.
Really? He got in a lot of trouble for that one, but oh my Lord. So what we have to remember is that we are judges, and our judgments equal what our belief system is, which is very hard for us to change unless we really can see what we believe in and then decide this isn't really working. But we are not our thoughts and beliefs. We are only the interpreter of them. I love that. I thought that was so true.
So true.
Let's see. So the right brain, I want to bring it up because I want to make sure we're balanced. The right brain is, left brain is language. The right brain is spatial. The right brain sees something and sends the left brain interpreter. It gives attention to the entire thing. And it's responsible also for automatic things like breathing. We don't think every day, well, I got to breathe today, or my heart's going to beat today, or my esophagus has to work on my food intake. But I love this. A lot of people will say, I'm so stressed. Oh my God, I'm stressed. Oh, everything's stressed, and I believe they make themselves more stressed when they do that. But it's the result of taking fictitious stories too seriously that we create.
Yep. The word fear, as it can be an anachronism for false evidence appearing real.
Yep.
And you know what? It is.
It is. It is. Yep. I think the best thing I found out about right brain in this, and I mean, I don't want to, if people want to read this, I don't want to tell them everything, but one of the things in here was that I said the compassion was in the right brain. So is emotion, so is creativity, and so is wisdom. And so all those things are totally accessible to everybody, unless you had some kind of a brain surgery or whatever. But a lot of people will spend too much time here, and they don't believe they can be compassionate, creative, wise, whatever, because they're not taking the big picture, which is that everybody has some kind of wisdom or creativity. It just may not be the same as somebody else has. So, yeah.
And tapping into that.
Yeah.
And tapping into that. Not unestimable acts, little things. Tapping into your compassion. Put back your grocery cart. You have no idea.
Really?
Makes you feel good.
Thank you.
Compassionate, right?
Yes.
Holding a door an extra second so that the person can get through, rather than just hold it and let them catch it.
Right.
Leave the door open. My favorite is saying thank you.
Oh, yes. It's like a no-brainer, though, for our generation. It was please and thank you for everything we ever did. So that I don't get that, but yeah, I agree with you. Small things make a big difference. They really, really do, honestly. I know I saw one when I was going to the grocery store, I would see people not looking kind of haggard or having a bad day. And I'd say, how are you doing today? And, what have you been up to? Or just talking to them for a few minutes, or being really silly. I'll pull into Starbucks drive-up line and I'll finally get to the window or something, and I'll make some kind of a stupid joke or whatever. And they'll probably think, oh, that woman, I don't really care. I just say something off the wall, like,
when they go home, they're going to say to their spouse, there was this funny woman who came.
I know. Yeah.
Just made my day.
Yes, absolutely.
And
it doesn't take much.
We're doing another really good one. Even though we're on Zoom, my camera's in front of me, your camera's in front of you, and we are trying to look at each other in the eye.
That's right.
We're looking at each other in the eye. Next time you go to Starbucks, look the girl in the eye. What does it take? And she'll feel like a human being. Or somebody homeless.
Uh-huh. Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Make them human. Look at them.
Yeah. Look right at them. Hello. I had a student, when I was in Nevada teaching at the university there, I had a lot of first year students, and I told them I wanted them to do something that nobody else would do, but nothing illegal or that was bad. I had some strange things, but I had a guy who decided that he was going to go and talk to a homeless man because he wanted to know his story. And so he followed him, and he said, I would like to talk to you if that's acceptable to you. And the guy had a dog, and he said, come on, I'm going to buy you lunch. And I think he took him to McDonald's or whatever. He said, you can have whatever you want, as much as you want. And the guy got like 6 hamburgers so he could feed his dog, who was named Mike, that was his buddy from the war who died. And he told him this whole story. And about the same time, You and Me in Paradise by Phil Collins had come out, that song, and A Day in Paradise or whatever. And so he wrote this most spectacular, perfect paper. I mean, it was, and I think he grew with it. You know what I mean? It was like, it really, and he was from Sacramento originally. And I guess some reason he got pulled in, and his paper was put in the Sacramento Bee, and then the San Francisco Chronicle picked it up. This is probably around 2000, yeah, and it was just amazing. I'll never forget it, and it touched me. I was sobbing as I'm reading his paper, and there are people like that will take something and go with it, and he had no idea, he was just a 19, 20-year-old kid, and came from a privileged family and was intelligent, was a business major. And I think that it certainly changed my life, but, in a lot of good ways. I'm sure it did his too, because he's just a nice person, and he just did something he did the unusual thing. So it's always nice.
Teachers touch lives.
Definitely. Yeah.
But we ended up getting more back from it,
Yeah.
And what did it take? A pause, a moment.
Uh-huh.
And
absolutely.
And so important.
It is. Just smiling at somebody and hi, how are you today? I do that when I'm walking. I'm sure you do too. When you're walking, you walk by somebody, or I'll say hi to the dog, because dogs are always cool.
Oh yeah. Everybody in my neighborhood knew my dog.
Oh, I'm sure.
And we were the humans that were with them.
Right.
They didn't know.
Here comes Buddy. Oh, and the people that have Buddy. Yeah. I know. Yep. Wow. That's fabulous. Well, I enjoyed doing this, and I would suggest we will do it again, and we'll pick another book, and we'll come back and we'll talk about some of the things we found out in it. And I want to thank Kathryn for being with me today. Such a treat. And I hope that this inspires some of you. And I am always welcome to hear from you as to, I said when I opened this YouTube that I wanted a book club. It's not real easy to do. Everybody likes different kinds of books. And I even like books. I mean, I love all kinds of books. I like story books, and I like psychology and whatever. But if you have something that you're interested in and you want to take part in it, that would be great. We could set up a Zoom meeting and you can be on it as well. So, yeah. So anyway, thank you everybody for coming by, and have a nice day.
Bye-bye now.